The dilemma.
You feel like a cheese stick,
I
don't
feel
you
like a
now?
cheese stick now.
What about
That's quite a dilemma.
What about space food stick?
Oh, can you still get them?
Yes, I think so. Actually, I don't know.
Hello,
can.
space.
You can?
Hello, space food people.
They are cool, they're convenient, and at some point every child will be nagging for
Space food sticks.
Yeah, we're talking about mobile phones. The latest Australian studies show 1 in 3 primary school students, 1 in 3, already have their own mobile. That's primary school kids, including kids as young as 8. So the question is, when should we give them one?
That is the question. That's the dilemma. One of the trickiest decisions every mum and dad must make. Well, for most parents, the 10 to 12 age range is kind of what they call in the sweet spot. It seems more and more youngsters are getting their first personal phones even sooner than that.
Yeah. So what's the best age for our kids to have their own mobile? Let's throw this dilemma over to today's panel. Comedian Tommy Dean, Austereo News Director Deborah Clay, along with parenting author Dr. Justin Coulson. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Tommy, let's start with you. I mean, when will you trust your kids to have a mobile?
Trust, I believe, will never come. The actual ownership of a phone, I'm betting probably 14, 15, 13, maybe 13. Probably when they move to high school. High school, I think, traditionally is a slightly longer distance from your home than primary school. It might become more necessary. Or maybe just when I upgrade.
When you get rid of your old one.
Deb, kids as young as 8 are using them. What do you reckon is the ideal
I
age?
know. I'm the mum of 2 very young boys. The eldest is 5. So to think in a few very short years that he could even be asking for a mobile phone, it freaks me out. I'm a technology junkie. I'm the first to admit that. But you know what? When I go home, I try to shut it off, because if they see that I'm hooked, then what sort of a message is that sending out to them? The experts say that a child who is 10 still needs the help of an adult to cross the road. So I think that's a little bit young. 12, 13, they're starting to gain their independence, so that's the ideal age.
Only if they're texting while crossing the road do I find that they never...
Or driving.
That's a whole other ball game.
Over to you, Justin. No matter how good or how mature your child is, they're probably not going to use it to keep you in the loop, are they?
No, they don't. That's the sell. That's what they all say. But the reality is they're going to use it for Facebook, for Snapchat, for Instagram, for Twitter, for texting, for messaging, for everything except contact. That will be the smallest percentage, but that's the big sell. I asked my kids last night around the dining table, what's the right age? My 6-year-old said 16, because that's when you're dating. My 14-year-old said I should have had one 4 years ago.
You're the expert, though. You're the child psychologist and parenting expert. You tell us, when do you think is the right time?
Well, I don't think that there's really an age. I would say this. Number one, kids don't need smartphones. They need smart parents. Okay, so don't let them bully you into it just because everyone else has got one. If you don't think they're ready, or if you've got personal values that say, no, my kids don't need it, don't give them one. Or give them one that just dials and texts, that doesn't have all the computer, you know, the smartphone technology. That works until the grandparents step in and say, here, have my old one, which happened to me last weekend.
Now, Tommy, lots of parents give their children a mobile for safety reasons. We never had them growing up. I only ever got kidnapped like 3 times, I think. How could you stop kids abusing this for things like, you know, sexting? Kids getting into trouble with this nowadays.
Yeah, they do. I think the secret there is, and my plan is, just never tell them about sex. And they won't even text about it. They won't even know what's going on. These words make no sense to me. I need to find another thing to talk about.
Okay, online predators is the problem, isn't it?
It's a serious problem, yeah. I think
I think it's part of the problem, but it's mainly other kids.
Yeah, and I think there's a big difference between giving your kid a mobile phone and giving them a phone with internet access. Shut that off. Get them a phone where they can only dial a restricted amount of numbers, and that's going to stop the astronomical bills. My friend, she went on a holiday to Fiji. Her 9-year-old racked up a bill of $2,000. He was downloading games. Now, that was on her phone. Can you imagine what would have happened if he had his own phone? Clearly, he wasn't ready for the responsibility.
Yeah, but the same kid racked up a $12,000 bill at the bar, too. That's important. Justin, we're going to be paying for the bill, right? Yeah. At least until the kids get a job. You've got like 15 kids, right?
5 at the moment,
Which is why you're night stacking at Franklin to pay these phone bills. What are the rules you're going to set with? I mean, you've got to get a cap plan, and maybe, as you said, you like a simple one where you can just text a couple of numbers or phone a couple of numbers?
Yeah, well, the reality is every family is going to set up their own rules. Families are going to say, whatever the experts say, this is... We went in to buy a phone for our nearly 14-year-old, and there were only smartphones available. You've got to go to discount stores to get the lousy phones out nowadays. In our home, we say that phones are off at a certain time of night. There are no phones at the dinner table. When friends come over, phones go away. Phones are away until chores are done, until school projects are done. You know, I mean, you just work it out, common sense, have a conversation. But the most important thing is if you try and make all these demands and force the kids, they'll rebel and they'll just make it all go underground. So keep it out in the open and have good conversations about why, not just here's the rules and I said.
Yeah, some really good tips there. Thank you, Justin and Deborah and Tommy. Good to see you all. When are kids old enough to have their own mobile phone? That's the question we're asking you at home.
Head to our Facebook page and tell us what you think, or you can text us. Depends on your plan.